That's 5 seasons so far. Tonight, we're going to be talking to Pierce from Off-Grid Throttles. If you haven't had the opportunity to fly with an off-grid throttle, you probably should. Off-grid throttles are my definite go-to. Hello, everyone. We are now live on Facebook. No, we're live on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sean Symons, and this is ClearPropTV.com. We are going to be talking to the guy that makes the off-grid throttles. Who out there has an off-grid throttle? I try to put an off-grid throttle on everything. I absolutely love them. Pierce is trying to log into Zoom and jump on here. So until he does, we're just going to introduce everybody on the panel. We'll start over here with Scuba Steve. What's up, Scuba Steve?
Yo, how's everybody doing? Just got back from Spring Wing 2024 off the eastern shore of Virginia. Had an amazing time. We had some pretty bumpy wind, but you know, it was still flyable and everybody took advantage of that. It was kind of like bad apples. Everybody took off at the same time, but we all were safe. Nobody broke any gear. So yeah, we had a great time. Yep.
Well, excellent.
Yep.
And you're not going to say anything about your YouTube or your
everybody knows my YouTube at this time. You can go to
don't know. What is it? It's
Paramotor
Paramotor
Outlaw.com. That will take you to my YouTube channel. I just posted a 360 video of one of my trike flights. And if you're using a computer or a YouTube app on your phone or something, you can actually move the video around, look down, sideways at me if you want for some reason, and watch me take off and land. It's pretty cool to view it that way, I think.
I like it too. That's pretty cool. Now, you know that if you have an iPhone 15 or higher, you can use the horizontal video and actually video in what do they call it? Spatial video, where you can see everything in 3D like you're really there.
Yeah, but I'm not doing that while I'm flying. I got a 360 cam for that.
I know.
I'm gonna be flying and holding my phone. Don't worry, I'm gonna get this video for you guys.
I mean, I have a chest mount that I put mine on, so I mean, I can.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
You know, do it good. All right, thank you, Scuba Steve. We also got Kevin Houston from flying50.com. What's up, buddy?
Not too much. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Sounds like you're going to be retiring pretty soon. I can't wait. What, Wednesday, correct?
Wednesday, yep.
Your last day, and you're retiring. And what's going on like Thursday? Anything special on Thursday?
Actually, you're coming down Wednesday, and we'll hang out some Thursday here in Mississippi. And then you'll leave out Thursday, and then I'll leave out Friday and come up there to Arkansas and hopefully do some flying through the weekend.
That is the plan, to do lots of flying, and I'm excited. I think it's supposed to be a good weekend, and even if it's not, I'm gonna go flying. I don't care.
I don't
know. I don't care. I'm going anywhere.
I don't care. I'm gonna go. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
The bumps still make me nervous.
What's that?
Said the bumps still make me nervous.
Dude, this last weekend, 0 bumps from sun up until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, flying all day, no bumps. It was the most incredible still day I think that I've had. So hopefully it will be the same.
You will get more and more used to the bumps, Kevin. The more that it happens, the more you'll get used to it. And you'll be like, well, you'll start getting like, that wasn't a bump. That was nothing. So,
yeah. My wingtip just went down 50% on one side. That was nothing. No problem. But that's why we go and do SIV clinics. You know, right. The more you do these SIV clinics where you purposely pull down 50% and you notice that, oh, nothing happens, you don't care. So a little bit of bump, what's going to happen other than, you know, it's going to rock you to sleep. Oh, I'm going to go to sleep. Right? I'm telling you, next year, you're going to look back on this and go, yeah, I remember when bump scared me.
All right.
We got our very own Linda Anderson with her pom-poms. Pom-pom. Where's the pom-poms?
Are back there.
No.
Well, see, Miss Molly is laying on my desk right now, and it's kind of like a fight for making room for my laptop. So she's on the other side of the screen here sleeping. So anyway, enough about Miss Molly, my little mascot, right, for Monday night. She doesn't miss a beat. But welcome, chatters. Thanks for being here on Monday night. The only place to be is right here with us. We got an awesome guest tonight. Pierce Osborn is in the house. And y'all just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. And that's it. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet so we can just move right along.
Well, of
So
course,
welcome.
you are short and you're
Thank you.
sweet, so it worked out great.
Well, of course. Yes. I like that. Yeah.
And we also got Jim from Canada, the only guy I know that has maple syrup smelling money. Not only does he have a business over at carepp.com, but he has his shenanigans over at careppg.com. And he also opened up another business. I guess Jim can tell us all about that. Is it like maple syrup or something?
Sorry. No, it's not. It's a storage business. No maple syrup comes with it.
Oh,
But we do mini storage. So I purchased a bunch of containers. I've got some 20-foot containers and 40-foot containers, and I got a 40-footer that's divided into 4. And so I would like to rent them out. See how that goes. But
excellent.
for flying, I just got back from the butt fan dust off at Fly Guy Alberta's place, and I got this cool shirt. I don't know, can you see it? Yeah, one of the guys made it, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's nice that it's gray. I was getting too many black shirts. So, what else? I got an SP 140.
You bought one.
I got one. You betcha. He's got it. It's got I got 2 props with it, 1 battery, the cage. You got a few extra parts, spars, different things like that. I was the first person to actually get off the ground with it. It was used, but it never had the opportunity to actually fly because of the power from the thing. It basically, the guy was on the ground. He hit the throttle and it spun him and he hit the ground. So unfortunately for him, he wasn't ever able to fly it.
Oh my goodness.
That's not even really used. I mean, he may have used it as a leaf blower, but that's it.
Pretty much it. So
well, Pierce finally did make it here. Pierce will be with you in just a moment. Will Fly. We're going to be doing the spinning wheel tonight. So Will Fly is going to be doing his spinning wheel of winning things. So Will Fly, we will chat with you in just a moment. But if you're here, make sure you at Will Fly. Pierce is in the house. He's the guy that makes the off-grid throttles. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing absolutely spectacular. I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, sometimes getting on the Zoom thing is not as easy as we hope it is.
Well, so here's the problem. See, you guys use Zoom every week, right? Whereas most of us use Zoom once every 2 years. So the version of Zoom that I have is like, hey, I just can't. And so we had to go through. Yeah, so we have to go through all the updates, all of that.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to do this 10 minutes before the show, it did not want to work out. So it did not work on the computer. The computer was just like, no, absolutely not. I will not help you.
But I'm so glad you made it. I'm so glad.
Yes, welcome.
So for those of you that don't know Pierce, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into paramotoring, and what got you to start making the off-grid throttles.
So how I got into paramotoring is probably the most boring story ever. It's just I wanted to, and I was always too poor to do it. And then when I stopped being too poor to do it, I said, I'm going to do it. And that's pretty much the whole story. I will say getting into the sport was tricky. I started in 2018, which was the transition point between wooden props and everyone has carbon props. And when I got into it, pretty much nobody could rent equipment. That wasn't a thing. So you had to buy everything first, then meet with some guy in a back alley who showed you how to kite and then said, go do it now. and that was pretty much it. It was a pretty ungraceful start into paramotoring. So fortunately, I didn't have any major accidents, though I've broken many a prop getting started. But otherwise, it's a pretty uninspiring story.
Well, you made it, and you started your off-grid throttles. So why did you start your off-grid throttles?
So the throttle really started as the cruise control. When I first got into the sport, everyone was using the thumb screws that you can tighten down your throttle handle and lock it in place. So I almost exclusively flew. Well, I should say I exclusively flew alone in my early days. It actually wasn't until I started Off-Grid Aviation in 2020 that I met other people to fly with. So I was only flying alone. So what I would do is I would take off and I would just go places. No use hanging around an airport that nobody's at. So I would do these longer trips. And of course I wanted cruise control, but I always hated the thumb screw style. And with that, those were the days where you ask people what throttle do they want, and everybody hates every option that's out there. So I'm like, well, I actually have a pretty good background in product development. I used to design dental equipment. I worked for Yamaha for a short time. I have a background in weapons design. I worked for paintball companies, pellet gun companies. So I've done a lot of like consumer product designs, but never one that I've done just by myself on the side. So a throttle seemed like a pretty easy starting point. They sound a lot simpler than they are. And then when you start to build a business around it, it gets really, really complicated. But the starting point was the cruise control mechanism. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with how the cruise control works. If this worked on my computer, this would be a lot easier to show you guys, but I'm going to do it here because my Zoom is way too old. So I had first envisioned what I wanted, something that would lock the throttle in place, but I wanted something that you can just blip the trigger and come out of cruise.
And that has saved me
So
numerous times.
Yeah. But that was just the main thing that I wanted in it. Now, with that, my motor, my wing, the amount of gas that I have is going to be way different from your motor, your wing, and everybody else's. So figuring out how to get a catch to disengage is easy. But how do I make it work with everybody's motor? Because everyone's going to cruise at a different RPM. So I knew I needed some amount of adjustment with this internal catch. So if you look, if I can not get a glare.
Well, we can see it fine over on our side. We can see it fine on our side.
So I got a little white dot in there that just indicates your cruise level. And I know I wanted something that I can adjust because everyone is going to be different. So I wanted to create a little wheel or something to adjust where the throttle actually hits the cruise. And then that necessity later became a feature. So I ended up, what started with just a little tiny thumb screw. I'd actually wallowed out the outside perimeter of the plastic part, and I had enlarged the actual the adjustment knob. So what needed to be a necessity just became a feature. So now in flight, you can just really quickly turn it, get yourself a little more RPM, turn it the other way, go down a little bit, and that lets people adjust it, whether themselves in air or one motor to another. So it really does make a very good system for everybody. And then everywhere in that cruise range, it's the same blip just to come out of cruise.
I would like to ask everybody really quick in the super chat. Do you fly your paramotor with an off-grid throttle? Let us know in the super chat. I know that I put off-grids on all of mine. Definitely. They are my go-to.
That's good to hear. I'm glad they're working for you. So when we built the company, I mean, it's a nothing company. Like I said, at the time, I had never flown with another person. Up to after launching the product, I had still never flown with another person. So I didn't really have anybody to bounce ideas off of. I didn't have like an in the industry to to get to know people. So I took one of the early prototypes, which was just a gross 3D printed bunch of blocks, but it had the same mechanism in it. One of my friends that I used to go kayaking with, Stephen Fay, he actually worked for Aviator at the time. And I'm like, dude, I know you, not from paramotoring, but I know you. I'm going to go talk to you. So I'm like, hey, I want to bounce an idea off of you. And he's like, I'll buy that right now. I'll buy that thing right now. So I kind of knew early on that I had something people wanted. I just needed to refine it. So we've since gone and made the design a whole lot nicer. We've gotten rid of, we don't use any 3D printed parts. Everything is machined or injection molded. And then we put everything together here in our shop. So this started in the garage, and I had near no following. Again, I didn't know anybody, but the day we launched, it was a madhouse. Like, word spread early. People were, people were eating the thing up. They really wanted it. And I think one of the early things that helped us, Harley Milne actually took one of our early prototypes for his West Coast to East Coast trip. And so he was actually flying with one of our early 3D printed parts. So that got a lot of attention. And then we were just getting people following him and in turn following us. And then when we launched the product, they're like, yes, buy it now. So it was a really exciting start coming from, basically being an unknown in the paramotor world. So that was a very exciting night.
Absolutely.
So
it will be hard to beat that.
What's the difference between the off-grid throttle and, because I haven't really looked at yet. I know you have an off-grid throttle Lite now. What is the difference between that one and the Lite?
Oh, you mean this one, the one that we're giving away at the spinning wheel of spinny things tonight?
What? Look at that.
So this is the new throttle. Let's back up and then we'll get into this.
Okay.
So this guy, he took off. It's an expensive throttle. I mean, it is. It takes a lot of work to make them. It's a very long build time to actually get it made. And again, I'm doing all of these by hand, so time is really, what I'm trying to save here. So these take a while. They're expensive. You can't get the price too low on these. But just about every major manufacturer is offering it, at least as an upgrade. I don't think anybody is just putting these on as stock. I think they are an upgrade on just about everybody's rig. But because I work with all of the major manufacturers, I kind of have an idea of how many they sell, knowing if like 25% of their motors get off-grid throttles. Well, there's actually a pretty big market out there that may just want a simple throttle, essentially as a Polini replacement. So that's where I came out with this throttle only about 2 weeks ago. It was right before Bad Apples. We launched this guy. So this is the Off-Grid Lite. It's a pull start only, very simple throttle. It keeps a very similar shape to the standard off-grid, but it's a little bit smaller because we don't have any cruise control mechs in there. And again, it's very, very simple. There's not a whole lot to it. And we got to use a lot of existing tooling. We didn't need to buy new throttle lever, left-right housing, but like the rubber boot, all the grip stuff, all of this has already been bought and paid for. So that got to save us a lot when it comes to development cost. But this throttle is an MSRP at $150, and then manufacturers who buy in bulk get a big discount on that. So we're trying to match the Polini pricing on their throttles. And I want to get this as just a stock throttle for paramotor manufacturers. So we're hoping to see these on just about every paramotor that comes out of a factory. And then there'll still be this as an upgrade for those who want it.
Yeah, that should be the stock option on every paramotor for sure.
Right. And again, we make them on, here in our shop in Georgia. So we have a really tight quality control over what leaves the building. But these are much faster to build because we don't have to do any of the internal cruise control mechanisms. So I could build 10 E-starts in a day, 16 pull starts, But on the Off-Grid Lite, we could build 24 full starts in a day. So we can really crank out a lot more in that same window.
How many employees do you have to be able to do this? Is it just you that's doing it or what?
So it's just me and my wife.
That's incredible.
Just me and my wife. Thank you.
Where's the button for the starting?
So I was holding up a pull start throttle. So this is your e-start throttle, and here is your pull start throttle. Okay. So this side looks exactly the same, but pull start has no button, and then the e-start has a button over here.
Okay.
And then the light only comes in pull start.
So is there a left-hand option as well for the
yes
e-start?
So this grip might be loose. Up on so all of our grips are the same. There is a little screw up on the top and on the bottom of the grip. So when it comes to you out of the box, it's going to be right in the middle. So it won't be set up for left or right hand. And then these screws are going to be slightly loose. So what you're going to do is you're just going to grab the grip assembly, twist it to the side that you want, and then you're going to tighten the top and the bottom screw. And that's how you switch your left and right hand.
What about for the e-start version?
So the e-start version, the button's going to be on this side for both. Okay. You would have to make an entire new injection mold to put the button on the other side. And it would just be a nightmare when it comes to different SKUs that you wanted to put out.
I guess
so yeah, we put every button on this side.
I guess you need two hands anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, and we haven't gotten really any complaints about the button being on this side.
I like it on that side because I keep my throttle on my right hand anyway, so that would be perfect.
Yeah, I do it left side, and I like the throttle or I like the button on this side.
Wow.
So again, back to when I started doing this, it's like, what side do I want to put the button on? Whatever side I want. Whatever I want.
I like that. It's a cool throttle that I try. I've only ever used one auto start or e-start throttle. The one that I used, it was really quite neat because I was able to bring the wing up and then fire the motor up. This would be a little difficult to do that with.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'd recommend starting it and then launching.
Yeah.
So that button's just a momentary button, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it
okay.
You have to click and hold it.
Well, I'm just saying because some people have chose to use that button as either a second kill switch or to turn their LEDs on or something like that. They could wire it up that way if they so chose.
The secondary kill switch is easy just because it is a momentary button.
Right.
Hooking up, like people have asked, can I do a smoke system or can I hook up my strobe on it? Things like that. It's a little tricky. Just with a smoke system, you want to hit the smoke and then turn and do stuff. But you'd have to hold the button to keep the smoke coming. So once you let go of the button, your smoke's not going to do anything. So unless you want to do smoke in a straight line, it's not really the use for this button.
Yeah, and you don't want to make it a click button because then people with the e-start would click it and it would just keep turning over. You'd have to click it again to stop. That would be bad. Yeah.
Right.
So I love your throttles. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
I mean, it is the best. I am so glad I got one. One of the things that I did that I had problems with was accidentally hitting the button on the top. And I killed my motor a couple times. I see you've lowered the band a little bit so that so you got more space there.
On both the standard or on both the classic throttle and the new light throttle, I came out with this new grip design in late 2022. The original grips that came with the throttle, the strap was actually taped onto the handle and then the foam was slid over it. And to switch from left and right, you had to take the whole thing apart, flip it around. It was kind of a nightmare. So I knew I needed to redesign the way that the strap goes down. With that, people were complaining about that exact thing. I'm accidentally hitting the kill switch and turning off my motor. So when I came out with the new grips, there we go. It's hard because I'm backwards on the monitor. So this is the cap that'll come actually on the throttle, and then this is going to be in your spare parts bag, which is a little extender. And what that does just stops you from accidentally pressing it. Same thing with the e-start. early e-starts did not have this. Sorry, I'm like trying to see the screen and move this. Early e-starts did not have this shield. It was just the exposed button, and we were getting the same problems. People accidentally turning their motors on. So we came out with this shield, and this will come on all of the throttles. And then this little shield is going to be in your spare parts bag. So you're going to get both with whatever throttle that you buy. And if you've bought a throttle since, I think it was November of 2022, this is the grips that have come on them. And we do have the grip kits to retrofit old throttles, which I know there's still a lot out there. But yeah, so these are available now if you'd like them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks.
And yeah, both the normal throttle and the Off-Grid Lite use the same grip, and that will come with the Lite as well.
Anybody say that they love their Off-Grid throttle in the super chat? Have you guys been watching it? I haven't been able to watch it.
Oh, there's lots of people that said they loved it. I have the people that say I got 2 or 3 of them. I mean, it just goes on and on. So
it's
yeah,
good to hear. No, and we're real excited about how just how much it's taken off. Just being essentially a nobody in the paramotor world, to see the Off-Grid Aviation brand kind of become a pretty well respected brand in the industry, and working with other major manufacturers. It's pretty exciting to see that out there, especially for our first business endeavor. This is the first business we've tried to do, so it's worked out pretty well.
These are the actual premier. I mean, these are the ones that everybody goes for, is the off-grid throttles. I put them on every motor that comes through the school. Anybody that buys a paramotor, we just put one of these things on. These are just definitely the way to go. Now, I see that you got some that are off-grid light, pole start float bowl, e-start throttle, e-start float bowl, e-start Moster EFI, and e-start Nitro 200 and Tornado. Now, I noticed that you got the Moster EFI, which is really good, because I think that I saw somebody was talking about the EFI throttle. So you do have one. What's the difference between just a regular throttle and the Moster EFI throttle?
The outside is going to feel exactly the same. It just comes down to how it's wired. So the wiring is different.
Okay, and that's the same thing with the float bowl?
The float bowl is a little bit different. So on the back of our throttle, these are demo units, so it's not exactly what you get. But our normal throttles, they have this little mount here, and then you actually screw this onto the carb. The float bowl, we don't have a threaded portion. Oh, sorry, let me go back. So these throttles, the pull starts are also grounded through the cable housing, so you just have one extra wire to worry about. The float bowls, because they don't make that fastened attachment to your carburetor, using them as a ground isn't really ideal. So we don't use the cable housing as a ground on the float bowls, and they don't have this threaded mount. It's just cut off, and there's a little end cap that gets slid on. Then we have 2 wires that come out, so you have to ground your kill switch to the frame, separate from your mount. And then it has a different cable. So our normal cables, they just have this little barrel here. And then they'll have these little NARPs at the back end that'll lock it into your carb. The float bowls don't have that. They have a little stopper that's really, really small, that you'd actually feed in through the back of the throttle. And then you have a locking piece that goes up here. So it's essentially the same throttle. It's just little differences that make it mount onto like your smart carbs or your Polinis with the float bowl, those kind of carbs. But otherwise, it's the same throttle.
So, and also too, for people that don't understand float bowl, all right, there's 2 different type of carburetors, right? You got the carburetor where you can actually connect the outside and it pulls it where you can see it. The other one is a float bowl that actually will go down and you don't see the actual carburetor moving. Maybe Pierce, you can explain what a float bowl is for people that don't have a float bowl.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Instead of having like a little lever that you're using this barrel to pull the lever to open your flutter valve, your float bowl just has a stopper, and that stopper piece actually actuates the opening of your your air intake.
Yeah, and usually the float bowl, you'll be able to open up the bottom to drain out extra gasoline. That's where some stuff will accumulate down there. And like you said too, it's usually the carburetor is not connected to like your reed valves, like you would normally have like on your Moster. It'd actually be off to the side with a kind of a flex tube or something like that, and the float bowl will hang down, and the throttle cable will come up the top.
Right. And that throttle cable isn't like fastened in the way that like this one is. So using it as a ground isn't going to be ideal because there's a real high likelihood that it wouldn't ground out all the time. So we don't use that as a ground on the float bowls.
So most of the standard cables are what, 48 inches? And I assume the longer ones are for like people with trikes or something.
Yeah. So I have like a detailed breakdown when people email me, like, if you're this tall, go with this throttle. If you're this tall and you want to do it right-handed, go with this this throttle. The basics of it are the 48 inch if you're right-handed, the 51 inch if you're left-handed, as in you're putting the throttle in your left hand, and then the 55 inch is probably only going to be for trikes. Generally, foot launch don't need it that long, though a lot of guys do like to have the excess length. But that's why on our on our light throttle, we only have standard 2 throttle lengths because these aren't really going to get used on trikes that often. So we didn't come out with the 55 inch right off the bat. That being said, we cut all the cable housings in-house, and a lot of different schools or customers have asked, like, can we do a custom length? So with the internal cable that we bought, we can go up to 60 inches on the throttle length. Otherwise, we run out of cable to actually actuate the carburetor. Though I have bought a couple of shifter cables from Jaguar, because some customer wanted an 80-inch cable. I'm like, what are you doing with that? He's like, I got a weird trike and I need a ton of space. Like, okay, I will make you an 80-incher. So we can do custom stuff as well, but generally you don't need it.
I prefer the shorter cable. The more length of cable you got, the more cable you have that can go back in your prop. So I'd rather have it shorter myself.
Yep. Yeah, and I use the 48-inch left-handed, but I'm only 5'9", so I'm not, 6'2", so they might have trouble with it.
I'm 6'2".
But yeah, I use a 48-inch left-handed.
I'm 6'2", but I'm right-handed. Does that still mean 48 inches?
Yeah, you probably still want the 48.
Okay.
So since this is like your business and you do this all the time, you probably heard a lot of people ask, which hand should I use for my throttle? What is your experience with making throttles for all these years?
That's really funny. I never get asked what hand should I use. I always get asked what length should I get, and then I ask them what hand do you plan to use. So my honest opinion on what hand you should use, I don't care. Whatever you're more comfortable with is what it's all about. I feel like oftentimes, to me, I use my left hand, even though I'm right-handed, because to me it makes sense to have my right hand able to do stuff, whether I'm taking pictures, not that I throw reserves all the time, but it's available to throw a reserve. I just like to have my right hand not with a throttle in it because it's my dominant hand. So I usually would I would, if people asked, tell people do it to your non-dominant hand. But otherwise, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could train with anything. You could get used to it. So people will argue that, oh, this is right and this is wrong. It doesn't.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. I hear people say, use your non-dominant hand. I personally think since throttle control is such the most important thing in paramotoring, I use my most dominant hand to use my throttle. That's just me, and everybody has different opinions. So I just want to know what your opinion was.
Yeah.
If I was to shoot a gun, I throw with my left hand, but I stir with my right hand. I write with my right hand. If I shot a gun, it would be with my right hand. And that's the fine motor skill I think you need for your throttle. But since I throw with my left hand, I would use that for the reserve and my right hand for the throttle. That's just the way I'm set up. But yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you could in the super chat, let us know, are you right-handed or left-handed? And which throttle hand do you prefer? That's something that, it'd be really nice to throw a poll out there real quick. So, Kevin, are you right-handed or left-handed? And which hand would you like to use your throttle in?
I'm right-handed, and I use my throttle in my right hand because of the
Okay.
fine motor skills. So,
All right.
if
Jim, what do you think?
I'm left-handed. I have a throttle. I've got two machines and the throttle's on different sides. One's the SP140. I have no choice. I have to use my left hand for that throttle. I would prefer to have it in the other hand. In fact, it created a problem here the other day. I tried to bring my wing up and I bring it up, grabbing the A's in my left hand, which turned the throttle on, and whoa, that was quite the experience. So now I got to switch hands to bring up the wing. It's a little bit of, yeah, just get used to it, I guess. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm able to squeeze both hands, believe it or not. Let's see.
Okay. I don't know if Will Fly is there or not. He's got
Will's not there. He's kind of, look,
All right.
see my fine motor control?
Yeah, there
Well, and
you
it's
go.
funny because you'll talk to people who, they're instructors at schools, and they might have access to a bunch of motors. Some are left hand, some are right hand, and they're like, I can fly whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind
I
of
have
feel
a
like I'm
preference, but I can
ambidextrous.
do whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I'm ambidextrous anyway. I can write with my left and right, do everything with both hands. I fly with machines that have right hand or left hand, and I don't really feel any difference. But, I figure if you have more of a dominant hand, would you want to use that one for a throttle? Did anybody post anything in the super chat about that?
Oh, yeah. There's
Oh,
a
yeah?
lot.
All right, go ahead and read some for me.
We have left-handed, right-handed, left and reserve on the right-handed, left throttle. I throw my throttle, then my reserve. I will throw my throttle, then my reserve. Right-handed, use throttle in right hand, throttle left, right hand, right throttle, right hand, and I like it in my left. Haven't tried the right. I've flown both-handed. It's almost a non-issue. I'm ambidextrous, which is pretty much like me. I could use either hand, but I prefer it in my right hand. That's the way I see it. But yeah, there's a lot of folks. It's just, it varies, that's why I'm glad the off-grid gives you the option to basically just, loosen that thing, and then you can turn the strap around to the other side. So it doesn't matter if you're right or left-handed, you can adjust it for yourself. So I love that.
And I will say, I like that from an inventory standpoint, because that was a big issue that I had early on, is I didn't store anything with the grips. So when an order would come in, I would put the grip on the whatever side and then ship it. So all of my inventory had no grips. It was just the stem. So this allowed me to actually keep everything boxed in inventory, because I don't have left and right hand configurations anymore. For most people, you could switch it left and right. Most people aren't gonna. It's gonna live on whatever side it lives on.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed taking your throttle apart and switching it over and getting to see inside, and figuring out that the ground was the actual cable was the biggest part. I'm like, where the heck did the ground go? How is this gonna work?
Where is it?
Thankfully, you were handy and you explained it all pretty easily, so that turned out okay. But
I'm glad you figured it without going too far into it. Yeah, the throttles aren't too bad to take apart, but there are some bits that you can lose. I've had a handful of people, they lose the detent on the inside, and they're like, my throttle spins, but it doesn't click anymore. Like, did you take it apart? I bet you took it apart. Yeah. I'll send you a new one.
Jim just likes cleaning his gun, so he takes throttle apart just for practice.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, I had to switch it over, and back at the first versions, I think you had to play with it. You had to take it apart in order to adjust the handle. So I
Yeah,
had
the first version, it was not ideal the way you had to switch it left to right. But you know, we fixed it a year later. We got it fixed.
but it wasn't that big of a deal. It by taking it apart, I started to understand what was actually going on, and so I was happy doing that.
Good, glad to hear it.
So the actual housing itself, is that like an ABS plastic, or I'm just trying to figure out, has people broken like the housing from just regular
So
use?
we've certainly had a handful go through props. We've had a handful of breaking. Not so much the housing, except when it goes through a prop.
Yeah.
I have had some breaking on the actual throttle handle itself, mostly from falls or rough handling. But so we used to use an extruded Delrin tube, which we've actually switched over to a fully machined Delrin tube, which is a good bit stronger, and it added a good bit of wall thickness to the inside, which actually beefed up the handle a bit. But yeah, those were some early issues. Not so much with the injection molded components, though. Those have been pretty robust. I've had some guys, they put tachometers on the rubber piece here, and they'll pinch it super tight, and they'll end up ripping it. So nobody's without their fair share of issues. Grips, they're foam grips. They don't last forever. So we were at Bad Apples whenever that was 2 weeks ago. And you see people with Gen 1 grips like, dude, your foam looks like it's been through a war. Can we get you a new one? Yeah. So we do sell the grips by themselves. And the throttles, they come with a spare foam grip. Now they do. And the grip kits will have 3 pieces of foam in there as well. Just because you fall, it's foam. It's not going to last forever.
It does last for a very long time, though. I mean, it is very sturdy.
Oh yeah, it'll be in a landfill forever.
Well,
so that'll be good.
The ones that I have, I've never had to replace the foam. I mean, they're really good. They're very solid. I still have all.
Was that the Gen 1?
Well, I've been getting them since, I think, yeah, your Gen 1s, yeah.
Yeah, so those are old. Those are old now. So I'm glad they're still holding up. This foam that we put on the new one, it's a heavier density foam. It's a lot more rugged, and it doesn't like mar quite as easily. So a lot of them you can just like scratch it with your nail. These are a lot more robust. So I like these a lot better than the Gen 1s.
If you make a Gen 3, not saying that this is possible, but if you could build a fuel gauge into the throttle, that would be awesome.
That would be cool. I struggle a lot with making these too complicated. Well, one, I would need to figure out how to make a fuel gauge, which would be a fun project.
There you go.
But,
there's a project.
How much do you want to put on your throttle? Because some guys, they'll have, all right, well, I got my tack, I got my my engine heat, I got this whole dashboard worth of stuff on here, and I fly with just nothing. Like I don't look at my RPMs. I don't look at any of that. I have a what's called an altimeter that I used to fly with. But then I put it on my tandem paramotor, and so now I don't even have one on my normal paramotor.
Well, after you fly for a while, you kind of just know how high you are. I mean, you can look down, it's like, I'm 4850 right now. I mean, you get pretty good when you're flying. And also too, on Apple Watches, you could just tap a button and there's your altimeter. So
yeah, and that's true. So I don't generally need an altimeter. I could see needing it if you're like going through sketchy airspace and you're like, okay, I got a ceiling here, I got to stay below this, so I'm gonna stay wherever you're at. But I generally don't fly in areas like that.
And if you have your gaggle on your chest mount, you can just look down and it shows everything. It shows your airspace, your altitude. So Also too, on the gaggle, it does have a way of keeping track of your fuel. So long as you put
Right.
the correct amount of fuel in and you set it correctly and you're burned correctly, you got a pretty good gas gauge
My
on your
problem is
gaggle.
remembering to set the gas correctly before I start flying. I took off one of the times at the flying, I took off and I never set it. So it thought I had no gas. You have 0 minutes of fuel remaining. I was like, oh crap. Oh, I was like, oh, I didn't set it.
Right. So, yeah, I don't think I would be really bad about setting the fuel ahead of time, but I would be even worse about remembering how big my fuel tank is. Like, all right, wait a minute. I know I had a 5-gallon on this paramotor, but does this one, what is it? Is this like a 4.8? Why don't they just make them all 5? Just make them flat 5.
I got a line on my paramotor where I know that's an hour of flight. So I know when I put the fuel in, that's an hour. Go up a little bit more, that's 2 hours. So, I just kind of guess, I guess the
Yeah.
best I can. And if I'm doing lots of throttling and lots of climbing, I know it's not what it's supposed to be. I got to back off just a little bit. But I usually go out and fly for a little bit. And then when I'm ready to burn out the gas, I go to the LZ and just keep on climbing until I run out of gas. And then I just glide back down, which is, that's the fun part of flying a paramotor, because you go from paramotor to gliding.
Yeah, it is so fun when you get to take your hearing protection off and you're like, wow, it's very peaceful up here.
So the EFI, you have a throttle specific for that. Doesn't it come with the throttle or some kind of a computer?
So the computer is separate from the throttle. It's just a separate entity. The throttle itself, so they just use their V throttle and they wire it slightly different. And so I had actually worked with Vitarazi on getting the wiring for this throttle. I just do what they do. It's just take our standard throttle and wire it different.
Oh, okay. I just assumed that it was all one piece, but
no, it's like a separate console that you mount onto. I guess they have it mounted on the swing arm on their foot launch units. But yeah, it's just a separate entity by itself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have not got to fly an EFI, though. I know a lot of people are buying EFIs with our throttle because we're like one of the few who has an EFI throttle. So I'm like, that's cool. Not a whole lot of EFIs out there, but we've sold a good bit of EFI throttles.
So curious about, I'm just curious. I mean, it doesn't have to be a perfect number, but about how many throttles do you sell a year-ish?
So we do right around 1,000 a year. So we were just below 1,000 last year, or just below 1,000 2 years ago. Last year we were just above 1,000. We average right around, I think it's 92 per month. So we're at a total of 3,200 throttles sold in total.
Holy smokes!
I mean 3,200-ish, plus or minus whatever happened this week.
Right,
that's a lot of pilots. That's a lot of pilot. Or either one pilot with 10 motors. I don't know.
Well, and the sad part is I kind of know how the sport works. People get into it and then they get out of it very quickly. So I know a good bit of motors have come with our throttles and they had good intentions and they just don't do anything. And most of the grand majority of my sales go to manufacturers and other stores. So if you just looked at us and everyone else as a store, like we're still the number one selling store, but the grand majority of my sales go to other people's stores. But yeah, we crank out a good bit of throttles.
That is really pretty cool. Almost 100 throttles a month since you've been doing this almost. That's incredible.
Well, and it's not linear because it's like 50 throttles in December and January.
Right.
And it's like 140 throttles now. So it's not linear at all. Yeah, summertime is crazy.
Yeah,
basically from March
awesome
to September is wild times.
And so you are going to be giving away an off-grid throttle for
we're giving away the new Off-Grid Lite that we just came out with.
And before we do the spinning wheel of winning things, can you go over that throttle again that you're giving away?
Cool. So this is the Off-Grid Lite throttle, and I'm gonna really struggle to stretch how much I can talk about this thing. It's a throttle, and it does throttly things. It has a very similar comfort level to the standard off-grid throttle with the same grip. It has the same kill switch shield that you've come to know and love. The classic elastic strap, which can be swapped from left to right hand side. And it'll fulfill all your throttle needs. And if you buy now, I'll throw in a sticker.
Well, there you go. You
There you
can't beat the free stickers. The stickers.
Can't beat the free stickers.
That's why I buy things, so I can get a free sticker.
Yeah, I mean, I throw a little fit of rage anytime I don't get a sticker.
So how does the hand grip, how does that tighten up? I couldn't really tell. Is it just
it's just a pull strap. Yeah, so it's got this hold on, I'm stuck.
So it pulls and just stays tight where it's at. It's not like Velcro or anything. I see.
No, it's elastic and it's a tension lock.
Okay.
So you got the tension lock there, and then you got your Velcro, your little keeper to hold the tail in place.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You really put a lot of thought into these throttles, which is why I think everybody loves the off-grids.
Thank you. This was a very fun project in its entirety. One, I really have a passion for designing stuff. And in my professional career before this, like I almost exclusively worked on consumer goods. You know, I have a big background in the firearms industry. I have a good plastics knowledge for how to design around injection molded stuff. And that was the big thing on these, is I didn't want to just 3D print another throttle. I wanted to treat this the way that a big company would treat something. So I wanted to really go through with the industrial design, making it look the way I wanted it to, having it kind of flow and make sense. This one was fun because I already have a base being the standard off-grid throttle. So it was fun to try and like match a similar appearance, even though, like, you know, we don't have any cruise control stuff on this throttle, but it kind of has a similar feel and flow and the way the lines flow together. It's a fun project to design for.
And so since you don't 3D print, you extrude it, correct?
So we don't do the only thing that's extruded now is the foam grip, and there's a little internal piece that holds the strap in place. So this is extruded and then chopped to size, and then the internal piece is extruded and then cut to size. But the actual throttle handle itself is machined Delrin, and then these are injection molded. Everything here is injection molded. On the cruise control portion, the internal cruise control pieces, the knob and the catch, those are all machined Delrin pieces. There's a steel, I don't know if you could see it on the inside there, but there's a steel threaded rod in there, which is what your guide actually runs on. But yeah, everything, we have brass inserts, so you're screwing into metal. We have our nuts on the outside here, so we want to screw metal onto metal and not metal into plastic. So we really don't want, we're using pins for this stuff. Again, no 3D printing. We don't want to just like glue stuff together. I really wanted to make a good, solid product in this way, and one that you could take apart if you needed to. Like with the, not to call out Polini, but like with the Polini throttles, they're threaded into plastic. So you unscrew them to clean it out or whatever, and then you have to re-screw it back into that plastic. It doesn't hold as well. So screwing back into metal, it makes a lot more sense.
What is the warranty that you have on your throttles?
So it's a first purchaser 1 year warranty, and I still tend to help people out when they have issues. But it's a 1 year dedicated warranty to anything goes wrong with the throttle. We'll get you covered.
Chris,
the only thing that we hesitate on is when people crash and then they sell all their gear. Don't buy from second parties and think we're just going to warranty everything. We're gonna try to help you out as best that we can, but I don't know what other people do to their gear. So if you buy from any of our third party resellers, just not used equipment from other people.
I got you.
But so yeah, like if you buy from Aviator or Sky Sports or any of them, it's the same warranty.
Chris is saying he don't use his cruise control very often, but he really likes the throttle. And I don't know how many, at least 3 times that I know of, because I don't have an aviation off-grid throttle yet. I'm going to. It's just been on my.
You might win it tonight. Who knows?
Maybe. Well, yeah, but
You
it
might
don't
get a
have
sticker.
it don't have cruise control. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to buy the better one. Just saying.
Okay.
So I'll be on the throttle, and then I go, oh man, I need to adjust my trims or something. And for some reason, my mind thinks, oh, you need to let off the throttle to adjust your trims, I do it every time, and I'll dump my throttle, which causes me to surge. And I'm like, man, if I had cruise control, I could have just put on the cruise control and then go up and do all the adjustments I need and come right back to it. So yeah, I really like the throttle. I need to buy one, damn it. I will send it.
Well,
Thank you.
definitely
Yeah.
in the super chat, guys. If you have the off-grid throttle, do you use the cruise control a lot? And if you don't have the off-grid, but you do have the old screw cruise control, do you use it a lot? I have the cruise control, but I don't use the cruise control. I love the grip. I love how it fits the hand. I love how well you can really get some the perfect RPMs. But I never use the cruise control. So do you use the cruise control if you have it? And if you don't have it, would you want the cruise control? Let us know in the super chat.
I use the cruise control all the time. I want to thank you for it. I just love it.
I don't blame you, Jim. I mean, you get up to the altitude you want to be at, you can put on cruise control to keep a nice steady altitude and just relax. I mean, then you're just, you
Yeah, well, and when you get
sit
going,
back and just enjoy your flight. This is, if you got some smooth wind,
when you're
shoot.
going for a while, then the thermals start kicking up. You got to reduce your RPMs and you got to adjust things. So it's beautiful that you can do it in nice small increments.
Yeah.
Wow, look
I
at
appreciate
Linda.
it, guys. I'm
She
glad
has
they're
her
working.
glasses off. That only means one thing.
That means she needs to clean them. No.
So Linda took off her glasses and it's time for the thumbnail. So let's do a thumbnail real quick. We'll do the spinny wheel of winning things. We're going to be giving away an off-grid throttle.
Light.
Awesome. And we're also going to be giving away something from Lone Star Paramotor, one of our official sponsors of the nonprofit podcast, Run Into the Sky, Clear Prop TV. All right, ready for a thumbnail, Mr. Will?
1, 2, 3. Got it.
I don't know why when I put my thumb up, it sparkles and makes everything go
Yeah,
dark.
it does the whole.
Well, I mean, it's probably because
though.
you're. I assume it's because the Aurora Borealis that's behind you.
That's possible. Oh, did you see the Aurora Borealis when it came down this last week or so?
No, I was sleeping.
Oh man, it went down all the way to Arkansas. Kevin came here and we were both watching the auroras in Arkansas.
Nice.
That was incredible. It was absolutely
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm pretty upset that I missed that.
I mean, I was up in Alaska on our honeymoon cruise or our 10-year cruise or whatever the cruise was. We go on lots of cruises and we were all the way up in Alaska and there was no auroras. Weird. And then you come down here and there's auroras down here in Arkansas. We'll figure.
Weird.
We don't get them every day, you know.
I know, and we don't either, but they are pretty cool when they come around. We're going to be doing the spinny wheel of winning things now. We're going to be giving away an off-grid throttle and something from Lone Star Paramotor. Will Fly, we were not able to say hello to you. So now you got the floor, man. Hello, Will Fly. I'm glad you made it. Thank you.
Oh, it's the real Will, not the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Yeah, thank
Will,
you.
nice shirt.
Got that from
Yeah.
my buddy. Is it Jeremy and Jeffrey? Did I say it right? Jeremy
Georgia
and
Paramotor.
Jeffrey
We
and
got
Jacob.
Sean and I got the hats. Oh, look, he's got like a whole collection of. Oh, there we go. I got it.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I got
Mine's
a whole collection.
right there.
I got this. I got the APCO. I got the John Wayne official John Wayne. So I love all my hats. You guys are awesome.
Dang, man, I never got a John Wayne hat.
What?
What's
Well,
that?
you have to invite John Wayne over, and then he'll say, "Here's a hat for you."
All right,
Hey,
John.
John Wayne, you're coming over to my place.
No, John, you're
Man,
invited.
John
over
Wayne,
to
I didn't get
Sean's
a
house.
hat. I don't get it.
You got to invite him over and go fly
I
with him.
just did. John Wayne, you're invited over to Sean's house.
We were at Fly for Gauge and John Wayne was there. He didn't bring no hats. He was like, y'all don't need no hats.
I seem to remember him. Was he at Bad Apples?
He may have been there
All over
too.
the United States.
Yeah, that guy's always
Yeah.
fun. He checks in at the very beginning of the show. He's like the very first, one of the first chatters. And then
Yeah.
he goes flying.
DP, Sean is wearing the John Wayne hat right now. Yes.
Yep, John Wayne hat, the official John Wayne
So
hat.
jealous. I'm so jealous.
Yep, John Wayne.
Come on over, John Wayne. Come on over. I'll make you breakfast. I make good pancakes.
I'm waiting for DP to make some hats too, because I want a DP hat, an official DP hat.
Oh, there you
I feel
go.
left out. I feel like I should have a hat.
You need an off-grid throttle hat. I mean,
Yeah, man.
I'd buy one. I love.
I do have an
the hat.
off-grid hat, but only my off-grid hat.
So let me say,
Just like I got an off-grid shirt, but it's my off-grid shirt.
Well, it's just him and his wife. They're already making throttles, and now if they have to inventory hats too or stickers, yeah, they're gonna give yourself some more work. There you go.
So my thing when I started the business, I didn't want to fall into the trap of, oh, I started an LLC. I need to get hats made, and I need to get business cards, and I need to get this, and I need pens, and I need all this junk that doesn't do anything. I'm like, we're not doing any of that. We're doing nothing. And now it's years later, and I probably should have business cards or something.
Everybody just knows,
but I
you.
still don't.
Everybody
but I
just
still
knows you.
don't.
It's no big deal now.
Yeah.
Your off-grid throttle is your business card. Here's my business card. It's an off-grid throttle. There you go.
There's John Wayne. He's driving right now. Yeah, don't text now, John. Keep driving, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, voice to text only. That's all you get to do, John.
Yes, we love you, John. We love you.
All right, so now it's Will's turn. Remember, Pierce came on and we were introducing everybody. So Will, you're on mute.
Drum roll.
So Will,
nothing special, man. I mean, if you like videos about paramotors, corny humor, you can find me on YouTube, Will Fly, or online at willflyppg.com. And while I'm at it, if you live in the Southeast, you can check out our paramotor page, Southeast Paramotor. And we're going to be on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday night hangout. Come check it out. We got Shane, me, Nick, Krista. We talk paramotors, but we're liable to talk about anything. So that's to get there, ppgshane.com.
There you go. Excellent. Hey, real quick, a hands up. Who flies with an off-grid throttle right now? I do. Kevin does. Jim does. Will?
I can tell you at Bad Apples for the very first time, I think I was talking to Ron, and I had an off-grid throttle in my hand for the first time. I've flown with nothing but a Polini throttle, and I tend to like stick with whatever I'm comfortable with.
Right.
The transition from the Polini over to the off-grid is nothing. I mean, it felt real comfortable, and so there would be no problem adjusting to it. So
it's very similar to the one I got already. So yeah, I can
felt like a quality throttle.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad it's working for you.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm also glad you
you
designed the cable straight instead of down. If it would have been down, it would have sucked. So that you made it straight, that it comes basically along with your arm, that's so much better than making the cable go straight down.
Yeah, he put a lot of thought into these throttles. I mean, like I said, there's no more just throttles that come on machines. We get off-grid throttles, period, to put on our machines.
Well, and I think that's because we focus on throttles. Like Viterazzi doesn't want to make throttles. They make motors. Right. Like a lot of manufacturers of frames, like they want to make paramotors. They don't want to make throttles. So it's like, we just kind of fit a niche. It's like, we're not making motors. We're not making frames. We're just going to make throttles. I mean, maybe some other stuff, but we're not making paramotors. So it's not like we had a ton of competition, but we just wanted to put something really, really nice together that would kind of stand out from the crowd.
And it does. Everybody knows off-grid. Everybody. I think people that don't even fly know off-grid throttles. I'm just saying.
I guess
All right. It is 8:06. So anytime that Will wants to put up the spinning wheel, you are more than welcome to, buddy.
you did have that Throttle came out in around the same time as you.
Yeah. Yep, they came out right after ours.
Right. And that was a pretty cool concept, but I mean, yours addressed all the issues of all the other throttles that just didn't cut it. Let's put it that way. So
I think the Throttle is actually a pretty cool concept. I think the struggle is just it's too different from everything else. Whereas ours, if you just look at the top portion, it's very similar in feel. There's not a lot to get used to. I think that's the struggle with the Throttle, is it is just so different. Though he did a really cool job designing it. It does look like a very, very nice throttle.
Yeah, I was looking at getting one of those, and then I ended up going with yours instead. But I
appreciate it.
I really like
it's worth a try though. If you do see one, like, I won't say don't try other people's throttles. You should try anything that's out there. Like, the sport only gets better when everybody gets to try everything and we get to try to keep one-upping each other. So it's like, try whatever's out there. But yeah, if you get a chance to fly with one, let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I definitely want to try one. Except for me to leave the throttle up there in the brake would be a bit of a problem if I'm flying for long distances and stuff like that. I mean, I could leave it there, but I think I'd prefer to have it close at hand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Look at all the people in the chat. This is so exciting.
Yeah, and real quick, we only have 15 thumbs up, and we can't spin the spinning wheel and give away a throttle with only 15 thumbs up. We gotta have at least 20. Come on, there's over 50 people watching. Now. We need some thumbs up to spin the spinning wheel.
Thumbs up. Paramount.
I did see Shane's Planet Shane said voice activated throttle, full send, crash RPM.
Yeah, so that's the problem. See how you're laughing? That's what your throttle would do.
Your throttle would laugh.
your throttle would blip every time you laughed. No voice activated.
Oh wow, that would be different.
All right, Linda, it's all you, girl.
Okay, are we ready? I'm ready. Welcome, chatters. Monday night. Thank you for all jumping in the chat room tonight and getting on the spinny winny wheel of winny things. So let's get the show on the road here. We got Bill H in the house. What's up, Bill? Scott Savage, Jeremy Howe, what's going on? I'm going to see you on Saturday at the Torchport Fly-In. Kevin Houston, DP, what's up, DP? You're the best. We got Wiggy Wing, Tony Marzano, Mr. Vegas in the house, John Wayne Cowboy, my favorite, Dan Hahn, John Armstrong, Kramer, lovely Kramer. How's it going, girlfriend? We got Greg Laney, James, Larry Redding, Scuba in the house, Jim Kerr, PPG Simnard, yeah. We got the other Nick. We got Chris Lockley in the house. What's up, Chris? We got Paul Marzano, Shane Planet Shane, Chris Gobelli, Brian T, Craig B. Is there any? Oh, I knew there was more on there. Let's see. Okay. We got Danny's in the house. Danny Williamson. We got Ebob Autry. I love Dairy Queen. I don't know who that is. Gee, I don't know. And we got Angela Preslick, my lovely Angela. We got Alex Robinson in the house and Gary Simons in the house. Welcome, everybody. Good luck.
You got a Mike S that just showed up in chat also.
Okay. Names on the wheels after Mike S.
Well, let's put
right, Mike S.
Hey, Will, let's put PPG Grandpa on there tonight.
Grandpa wants a throttle.
I want one of these light throttles. Yeah, put me on there just for fun. All right.
I won't win because it's something I need. I know it. I know how this goes.
Wait a minute. I don't see Munchkin on here.
Munchkin's not.
Munchkin? I don't know
You
why
might have
she's.
Munchkin on
I don't
here.
know why she hasn't joined. I don't know what she's doing, and she's watching TikTok or something.
No, all that camping she did, it wore her out.
You'd be surprised.
You ready?
Okay. Can I say a name yet?
Nope, not till it starts spinning.
Tell us when it spins because we can't tell over on this side.
Yeah, we can't tell, dude.
Okay, you can start. I'll say great.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna say Larry because what's up, Larry?
Alex Robinson.
I don't know.
something like
I'm gonna
that.
say I'm gonna say Angela.
Okay. Anybody
Just
else want
because.
to? Anybody else want to pick a name? See who they
Jump,
think's gonna
jump.
win?
Jump. I can't. It's
How about you, Pierce?
such a
Pierce,
bad
who
frame
do you
rate.
think's
I
gonna
have
win?
no
Oh,
idea.
you know, it'd be pretty cool to win one. That'd be pretty sweet.
Who?
I need one.
That's
It's actually funny. I'm still flying with one of the prototypes. I'm not even flying with the latest one yet.
Well, it's definitely nowhere near me because I just went
Up
by.
on Tony. Coming up on Tony Marzano. It's going to be between Chris and Tony.
Well, look at PPG
Oh,
Grandpa is absolutely
Cool.
opposite of this spin.
gonna miss Tony. It's going to Daniel.
No, it's gonna hit right on Tony. Look at that. Whoa, no, Chris!
Oh,
What?
poor Tony.
Wow,
Wow.
look how close that
No,
was.
wow.
Chris,
Okay.
Wow.
congratulations. Winner,
Chris.
winner, chicken dinner.
That is awesome. So the thing is now, do we give him the stickers from Lone Star or do we let him have the off-grid? Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't. I guess we didn't say what that spin was for, did we?
Uh-oh. How about this? If you jump in and you say you want a throttle first, you get the throttle. Let's go ahead and spin it again.
Okay.
We're spinning for two different things tonight. We're gonna spin for the off-grid throttle. And of course, Lone Star, our official sponsor, is going to be giving away something awesome from Lone Star Paramotor at lonestarparamotor.com.
If he don't answer, he gets stickers.
I know, right? So we'll find out here in a minute. It's about a 30-second lag usually. So if he pops up in 30 seconds, which will be the end of this spin,
I'm going to say Kramer.
I want to say DP.
I'm going to still say Larry.
I say me.
Maybe I should say PPG Grandpa. No.
Yeah, you can say you, Scuba. You're allowed.
Did you spin it, Will? We can't tell on this
It's
side.
spinning. Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Spinning.
Yeah.
Oh, there he
Yeah.
is. That's great. I'll take the throttle. Damn.
Wow. There you go.
There we go.
So how does our winner get up with you, Pierce?
You can send an email or reach out on Facebook or Instagram. If you go on our website, there's a contact us page and there's an email. Just send me an email and I'll get it sent out.
Oh, this is close for Bill H.
Oh,
Oh,
Daniel
Daniel.
Williamson.
Yay!
Excellent.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations. Winner,
See,
winner,
the
chicken
spinny wheel
dinner.
is not rigged. We thought it was going to be Tony Marzano, but it was not. So that's really awesome.
Cool, Danny.
What's that?
I said that's cool. Daniel won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations. So what does Daniel do to get
So
this?
Daniel, to get up with Lone Star Paramotor, just email Ron at lonestarparamotor.com. Let him know that you won on PPG Grandpa's Paramotor podcast, Clear Prop TV, run into this guy, whatever you want to say, you won on the show. So
Yeah, Danny's the one with
definitely
all
know.
the cars. Dan, yeah, he's remember
Yeah,
he
he's
was on
got
the
that hot
show.
rod. Yep.
Yeah,
That's a hot
yeah.
rod.
We miss you, Danny. You need to stop by our show more often. We haven't
Absolutely.
seen you in a while.
Absolutely.
You know where we're at.
Every Monday night, we're right here and we
Right.
give away some
Right.
cool stuff. All those people out there is like, man, I don't know if I have time to go over to PPG Grandpa's Paramotor podcast tonight. And then they're going to look and go, oh man, somebody won an off-grid throttle. I wish I was there. You never know. So come on over every Monday
Right.
night and watch the show. You got to be here. We're always giving away something cool. Hell, we might even give away a paramotor one of these days. Ooh.
If I would have won, I so would have been trying to sweet talk him. Can I pay to upgrade to the better throttle?
Not better, just different.
The Yeah, the one with the more features.
But
right?
I would have been doing the same thing, Scuba.
You would have been doing the same thing, right?
It is after 8 o'clock. Will Fly always has to leave early. Well, we all need to, but Will Fly, thank you
Yeah.
so much for everything you
Thank you,
do,
Will.
buddy. He is the treasurer for Run to the Sky nonprofit. He does the spinning wheel of winning things. He does a lot of really cool stuff on his channel. Make sure you go over to willflyppg.com. He always does a really good podcast with Shane and the gang on Tuesdays over at PPG Shane. So make sure you check him out on Tuesday nights. Will Fly, thank you so much, buddy, for joining
Thanks,
us.
Will.
Yeah, man. And Pierce, it was a pleasure. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry for the late entry.
It's all right.
It's my outdated
Out.
Zoom.
Good night, y'all.
Night,
Bye.
Will. Thank you, buddy. So anyway, man, I really enjoy talking to Pierce. I love the off-grid throttles. It's really nice to see how it's done in depth and detail. If you watch the trailer before this show, he actually has the CAD, was it CAD designs that you went through
Yep.
and designing it? That was really neat. I really like that a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, cool.
And anything, okay, so you came out with the Lite. Do you have anything else in the making that might come out in the next year or so? Or
So yes and no. For Off-Grid Aviation, where this is going to be it for now, just because we launched this and we're pretty busy to work on some new stuff. My other business, Off-Grid Innovation, I'm currently working with Daniel Defense, and we're finishing up a new rifle platform, which is taking up a good bit of my time at the moment. I have some other work that I want to start, that I want to continue on for some side projects, but I don't really have the time for now, and it won't be an Off-Grid Aviation item.
okay. So we got lots to choose from. I mean, we look at your website and we see lots of stuff to choose from. And I can't wait to order some of these lights to put these on the throttles or on the paramotors over at the school. I think it's really awesome. I mean, me personally, I think I'm going to change out my off-grid with the cruise control and move it on to something else that somebody else could use. And I like that light, just sounds like the perfect one for me.
So
Yeah, if you're not
who's some
using
of the
cruise control.
third-party sellers that you have? I know
Oh
Avi-
gosh, just go on there's like 46 of them.
46. Okay.
If you go on the resellers page on our website, it just scroll down, they're everywhere.
Wow.
It's all the major players are part of it
Cool. Okay.
at this point. But yeah, if you go on the website, there's a resellers tab, and they're all there.
Aviator, cloud-based background, Jacane, Gook, Light, Flight, Power, Paraglider, Aero Light, One Up, Adventure, Lone Star, Boys, Paramotors, Paraswag, USA, Fly, PPG, and Light, and it just keeps on going on and on and on and on. There you go, guys. Hey, even in Canada, eh?
Sky Sports isn't on there? That's funny. I would
And
think
Sky
they
Sports is
will.
on there.
Sky Sports
Sky
is on.
Sports is on there.
I didn't see it. Skyfield.
I don't see Sky Sports either.
I don't see it.
Oh, I gotta add them then.
Yeah,
I swore Sky Sports was on there. They just
Uh-oh.
started recently. I thought I added them to that list.
I mean, if y'all see it and I don't, let me know. I'm looking.
I could have swore I put Sky Sports on there. Maybe I didn't
I
save the
don't
page.
see it, but I do see Canada with King Gook, Australia, Brazil, the UK, Sweden.
Wow, Bulgaria, France. Man, look at
Germany,
that. Germany.
Spain, Ireland, Scotland.
We're worldwide.
Holy smokes, you are really everywhere. I'm impressed, man.
Thank
Paramotor
you. Yes,
Africa.
they're when I say all of the people, they're
That is-
all of the people.
That is really neat. And I love always going to different URLs and seeing what they put on there and how they do it. Look at that. That's so cool. All right, man, that's incredible. So got a couple of winners tonight. Make sure you get up with the people that you need to get up with over at Off-Grid. You get up with Pierce over at Lone Star Paramotor. You get up with Ron at lonestarparamotors.com. And Pierce, how do we get up with you again?
So if you go on to offgridaviation.com. There's a contact us page that has my email listed out. It's pierce.osborn@off-grid-aviation.com, which is why I say just go to the website, copy the email, or you can message me on Instagram or Facebook. It is also fine.
Yeah, I saw you on Instagram. I checked, I go, oh yeah, I already been following you on there.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, the links and the bio and everything is right down below in the description. So everything should be down there. Check out the links, go to his Instagram, check out his website, and definitely I recommend getting an off-grid throttle. If you don't know about the cruise control thing, this light one seems to be the way to go. It's a really good deal. Most throttles that you're going to get anyway, the basic ones are going to be $150. So he's right on par with all the other throttles that are out there.
Yeah.
Very
Yep, we're
cool.
trying to hit that price point, but get a really high quality throttle at that price point.
Yeah, I will be.
And the
ordering
only
from
way that
you
we
very
could
soon.
do that, yeah, the only reason we could do that is because of the tooling we already had. So we were set up pretty well for it.
That's excellent. All
This was
right.
so fun.
Anybody else have any questions, or was there any questions in the super chat, or any questions on the panel before we say goodbye to everybody tonight?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I like the way that you call the protector. You know, the protector on the top?
The shield.
Yeah, the shield. I thought it was much better than the word I came up with.
What did
I
you come
called
up with?
foreskin.
Oh, that's what I originally called it.
Seriously?
For real.
Because
That was my
I had
that was my original non-branded name for it. That's what I called it unofficially.
Oh, there you go.
I 3D printed one for myself and I called it the foreskin.
Yep. I wasn't going to go to market with that name, but yeah, that's totally the name that I gave it before
Great
long.
minds.
You would have came up with a lot of hits if you called it the foreskin, but
Yeah.
no one would have bought the throttle.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Wow.
Any other questions in the super chat? Any questions on the panel? If not, man, thank you so much, Pierce, for joining us tonight.
Yes,
We're going to
thank
go
you.
offline here in just a moment, but we'll do a very short after show with just us here. But
Okay.
I definitely want to say thank you so much, Pierce, for joining us. You make an amazing throttle. We put it on all of our machines. Kevin is a new student, and I think that's all he's been flying with an off-grid throttle. I don't even think he knows how another throttle feels like. So it's really nice to be able to have everyone start off with an off-grid.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely.
This was. It went so fast.
So
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
go
they
anywhere,
always do.
Pierce. Yeah, don't go anywhere, Pierce. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, and then we're just going to
Yeah.
do a short after show. So thank you,
Yes.
everybody. We appreciate you, everyone that
Thank
has
you.
been here.
Much
All the thumbs
love.
up. Congratulations to the winners. Kevin Houston, our
Yes.
president of Run to the Sky. Will Fly, that is our treasurer of Run to the Sky. Linda Anderson, Paramount USA, which is our PR girl for not only here, but our Run into the Sky. Jim from Canada, with all of his maple syrup smelling everything, which is awesome. Make sure you go over to carepp.com and careppg.com because he has a lot of cool stuff. He does do a lot of printing. And if you want a calendar, he can hook you up with a Paramotor calendar over at ppgcalendar.com. We also got Scuba Steve that does an amazing job and helps us out over here behind the scenes. And he also runs a podcast on Friday, Vaping, over at paramotoroutlaw.com. Hey, I remembered it. How
How
about
the
that?
heck did you remember
Oh my
that?
God, it only took like 5 months.
What?
And don't forget to check out Off-Grid Throttles, Off-Grid Aviation with Pierce. Him and his wife, he and his wife does all the manufacturing. I don't know how you do it, but you guys must have an amazing relationship to be able to do something like that, and all your other companies that you have on the side. Pierce, you're an amazing guy.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys, if you want to, if you have a disabled veteran in your life that wants to learn to fly, have them run over to runintothesky.com. Check it out. We do free training for disabled veterans. If you're a non-disabled veteran, police officer, or other hero, we have amazing rates for you guys. Check out runtothisguy.com. Thank you very much. This is a nonprofit podcast. We love you all, and we can't wait to see you again next week here on PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, Clear Prop TV,
Thank
or
you.
paratalk.org.
Be safe, y'all.
Out.